PR Connections Radio presents Ethics Realty is a full-service real estate agency that provides a service for finding the ideal property for residential, commercial, and investor-centered clients. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned buyer or investor, they provide service to all and listen to understand your goals and needs. For more information about their wealth and investment-centered services, call 702-518-1606 or visit their website, ethicsrealty.net.
Hello and welcome to JP's Teachers Lounge, Season 1, Episode 11. And I'm very excited today. I have a special guest, Marisa Avena. Welcome, Marisa.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you. And today we're going to talk about the importance of financial literacy. As an educator, I mean, I'm an English teacher, but I also try to focus on all of education. And I met Marisa about a year ago or so, and she was telling me the work that she was doing, and I believed in it so much. I joined her team, but now I have to figure out how to fit all that in. I when I met you, Marisa, I loved your attitude and your approach, because you focus on financial literacy, the education part first. Yes. And to me that's the most important. It's really important because even like it's only until this is 2026, and I think as of maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I believe the state of Florida was probably the first state to require high school students to get at least a semester or maybe a year of financial literacy to get a diploma. And so we're on the right path. It's just sometimes it takes a little while. So for people who are hesitant about finding out their financial status, because it's when you gave me my financial needs analysis, I pretty much kind of knew where I stand. But there's always other people who are maybe better off, or maybe not so better off. So what's one way that when you do a financial needs analysis, or when you introduce people to the whole process, whether to what's one way that you keep people at ease when they go through this process?
Yeah, which is so important, by the way. And I think it takes some time to kind of figure out the right, I like to call it, recipe. But honestly, I think when you discuss goals with people, it doesn't make it so serious when it comes to your finances. One thing I always like to talk about is, like, maybe if we chunk it down into a 30-day goal, 60-day, or even 90-day. And sometimes when people think about finances, they think it has to be this like huge goal, like, oh, I got to save like $20,000 or buy a house. And not saying like those are important, but I think something as simple as, hey, I would just like to, take myself maybe to a nice dinner as a thank you, right? A steak dinner. Or I'd like to at least maybe save, I don't know, an extra $100 this month, whatever the case may be. So I always like to approach it from a goal-oriented mindset. As well as like sharing true stories, whether that's my own personal journey or clients that I've already helped. I think people really value that because they understand, hey, I'm not alone in, whatever situation I'm in with my finances. And there's many other people just like, me or yourself that, deals with those similarities. And that also helps them open up more and being more comfortable to discuss, maybe, what their what their obstacles are, so telling true stories, and also orienting it on goals is kind of where I like to start at first with people that I meet first time.
No, that makes sense. What they say, a 1,000-mile journey begins with one step. I mean,
Exactly.
just even I think it was Kevin Trudeau said, if you drive from LA to New York and you drive at night, you only need to see 10, 20, 30 feet in front of you, and
Mhm.
then you keep going. I learning the hard way, on many things when it comes to finances. The system has many traps for people to fall into. In fact, I think I shared this with you. The Libertarian Party of New York, which almost kind of sounds like an oxymoron, Libertarian New York. But they came out with a study, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I mean, it's got to be somewhat in the ballpark. It said that when you turn, it's a hypothetical situation, of course, but when you turn from 18 to 65, hypothetically, if you did not have to invest in Social Security, instead you put that same money in a just a conservative equity, index account, or mutual fund, or money market account, or something. And again, just the average person, if they just did nothing and they got their Social Security from 18 to 65, they would get about I think $4,000 a month in Social Security. But if they did not have to contribute anything in Social Security, and instead took that same money, 18 to 65, and put it in a mutual fund account, they would get about 32,000 a month. So our own government is shortchanging us. Our government is giving us back 1/8, and the government is using us for the bank.
Yep.
So that's one example of the things that you learn. That you learn when you give, when you start learning about how finance really works, like with credit cards and everything. But as a teacher, our focus, my focus has always been on education. Can you share a few ways that you, or maybe one or two examples
Mhm.
of information like that you shared with a client in the past?
Information that I've shared.
Yeah, like that you shared with them, like to help them with money.
Yeah. So one thing I always like to start with, you kind of touched on as far as understanding like where to park your money and the different buckets, right? I think a lot of times we're only taught that, let's put our money in the bank, or some of us still like to save it under the mattress or in a piggy bank, which that's nothing's wrong with that. But I think what we fail to understand is, like, if we look into the future, right, 10, 15, 20 plus years from now, if you keep your money in those kind of options, for example, the bank is a safe place, which is why, of course, we put our money there. But like to your point, there is minimal growth. And that's something that, we're not really taught, is understanding the power of interest. If you ever look at your bank statement, which is an exercise I give to people, is take a look at it. Tell me, how much interest are you making? Most of the time it's under 1%. So you're making pennies on your dollar. $100 today is not going to be the same in 10 years from now. I think the $100 today is the new $20, to be honest. As an example. And people are like, wow. So I say, if you understand the different buckets, right? If you use a 401k, okay, you're not going to be taxed today, but when you have to take it out in the future, when you're 59 and a half, because you have to, taxes will be more at that time. So you'll get taxed on that money when you have to make that withdrawal. Just know that. And then there's more on the Roth IRA side, where it's more of a tax advantage, or cash value life insurance, where you're paying money on the taxes today so that when you make the withdrawal in the future, you don't need to pay taxes. So I always advise people, understanding your options so you know how much money to park in each bucket. I'm not saying just go to one or two of the buckets. I think it's important to understand if you're saving for retirement, maybe utilize more of that tax advantage bucket than you would with more on the 401k or the bank, for example. Another topic I like to discuss too is inflation. Cost of gas or cost of going to the movies now was so different when I was a kid. I'm sure for you, way, way different, but way back when. We got to think about that. We got to think about the cost of living, and is our money growing to keep up with how much it's going to be costing us in the future? So those are just like two prime examples I always like to make people start to think about, because we don't talk about it much, especially when it comes to our money.
Right. And I have a retirement right now. I did early retirement, and they give us a cost of living raise, which is 2 to 3%, but that's not reality anymore. I mean, it's it's just, yeah. And then the wage gaps, it's almost like we're living in two different worlds, and the two worlds are not communicating, because these new houses are 400, 500, 600,000, even more. And who gets a loan for that? Unless you have 2 or 300,000 in the bank. So that's good that you're teaching people how to where to park your money. As a school teacher, this past year, or this last semester, our class took a field trip to Junior Achievement, where they have, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it was one day of, it was like what do you call it? Going through, what do you call it? Going through the, there's a word for it, a simulation, where the students would go to one section, and they would show you how to open up a checking account, how to balance a budget, what you got to buy a car, get a loan, kind of go through the motions, getting a loan, getting a car. And it was great. And then to prepare for that, we had the students, twice a week, we would go over different lessons about, filling out a tax form, all these kinds of things. What do you see, or what do you think schools, because again, not everyone's going to college, and I don't think it's not for everyone anyways. There are other options. Lifelong learning is important, of course. It doesn't mean you have to go to a 4-year university. But what else do you think schools can do to help prepare the new generation for? I mean, I know you don't have a crystal ball or anything like that.
I wish I did.
Yeah, I know, really. So what's one or two things that schools can probably do to, I guess, help prepare students for the financial realities of tomorrow?
Oh, yeah, that's a big question. And
Well, I mean, I know. I'm just saying, if you can think of an idea, you don't. That's okay, but.
Oh, no, I definitely know. I have so many ideas, and that's partly why I even got started in this industry, was more for the education side, especially for young people. I think something that would be very beneficial, even just starting in high school, is talking to high school students about, the money formula. There's a formula to money. It's your time, it's understanding tax, it's understanding inflation, it's understanding, like the rate of return. So I think certain variables and putting that formula together and having them understand, at the end of the day, how do you make your money positive in cash flow, right? Because go ahead. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Oh, no. Oh, so something called the money formula. I think that simple concept would be great to teach students at a very young age. And even honestly, coming more from an entrepreneurial mindset, right? I mean, if we were taught to kind of be more from a business owner perspective, or because as a business owner, right, you get a lot more advantages for your retirement and even for taxes. Instead, we're taught to, and nothing's wrong with this, but like we're taught to go to college, get your loan. Like you just said, we get into debt. We don't know the cons to having student loan debt. For example, my aunt had over 100,000 in student loan debt and she couldn't purchase a home because it does affect your eligibility for certain things. So I think if we kind of teach students of, if you do want to create your own business and something that you're passionate about, there are benefits to being a business owner. So and I can go on and on, but those are like the top two that come to my mind right now.
That's great. I mean, obviously we don't want to overwhelm the audience, but a little bit, again, a 1,000-mile journey, starts with one step and continue. It's funny because when they gave us a financial workbook to give students, again, 2 days a week up to like the first maybe 8 weeks up until we went to the field trip. And I looked through the workbook and there was no mention of the rule of 72. So I shared that with my students. I said, well, how do you know what's the rule of 72? I said, well, I'm glad you asked. So whatever, when you want to know how long it's going to take for your money to double, you look at your interest, and then you divide that into 72, and then whatever your answer is, it'll take you that many years to double your money. So again, like you were saying, banks barely 1%. Yep. In fact, they just do dividends now, which is like, at the end of the month, I'll get like 23 cents, and like, okay, you just messed up my no, not really, but it's like 23 cents. I mean, just instead of percent, they just give you a dividend and use your debit card 20 times a month, and you get 20, whatever, 33 cents or something. And that's why when you have $1,000 in there and you're getting 1%, 1 divided by 72, it's going to take you 72 years to double just $1,000. I mean, and you have money in there so that they can use that money to turn around and give loans to other people, and they're making tons of money. Yeah. It doesn't make sense for someone to have money in the bank and then they use that same money to finance, someone's car, and they're paying the bank 6% or 7%, and then they're giving you less than 1%. Give them 3%, 3 to 4%. This way, everybody wins. I mean, it's crazy. That's great. And then again, as a teacher, I'm always looking for not just to supplement my income, but for other things, because I like to do different things. I still enjoy teaching, but I like to do different things. Even when I'm off I have a day off, I like to work for a couple hours and do other things. From a kind of a segueing into the kind of the business side of it. I do tutoring. Of course, that's kind of off and on. I do copywriting a little bit, but I only have one client, and then I don't have time to reach out. In fact, my one client who does copywriting, and when I told him, I said, yeah, I got my insurance license, and I found a really great team from California, and they're really great people, and I know who I want to work with, and the team, and getting things together, and like trying to how I'm gonna make it work, but I just I've got to figure out how. But what he said was, he said copywriting is fine, but you have to go out and, just like with other things too, like with copywriting and then other things, you have to, he says, you have to go out and kind of reinvent the wheel. You have to go out and just get your customer base. But he says with financial literacy and life insurance and retirement planning, all that stuff, the system is already set up. right? So the system is already set up. So that's one way to approach people who who want to start, make a better life for themselves. So can you talk about the actual benefit uh, of going into a business in which the system is already set up for you?
Yeah, it definitely saves you a lot of time, right? Because imagine, James, if we didn't connect and you're just starting from scratch, trying to figure out compliance and getting licensed, and then, of course, keeping your license with the continuing education, right? And then getting appointed with the companies. There's just so many variables. If you were to try to do it on your own, not impossible, but definitely will take more time. This was the same thing I looked at for myself when I got licensed, and what attracted me to, Transamerica, Aegon, WFG was the fact that the moment I get licensed, like you said, it's, my website's already put in place. There's already a back office, admin support. So it's not like I have to find someone I trust to run payroll. That's already built in, so I don't have to worry about that. And then, of course, having all the relationships with the 190 carriers we have on our platform. And to me, I'm like, that is amazing, because I want to be able to have variety and options for my clients. And that's already on the platform. The moment you're licensed and you get approved, that's all packaged. So I really see it as like it's a packaged business package for somebody. As long as you're willing to learn and be coachable, you have a lot of one-on-one coaching, as you know, with myself and a lot of leaders who's been in this business 20 plus years, making, $1 million or more, that's willing to, give coaching and let you know the mistakes they made early on in their career, so you don't have to make it. There's so many different variables. And I think the biggest thing that when I've asked other agents, maybe what's worked or hasn't worked from a place they come from, it's really just mentorship at the end of the day. A lot of times people are like, I got licensed and no one was there to help me. I didn't know what to do, how to submit an application, even setting appointments, just the tangibles. And I think a lot of people value that. And I'm sure you've sensed that here, but we were very supportive. And I think that's a big thing that, has people take that risk and come from an industry where, like myself, no financial background, but I was willing to just plug in and learn. And through time, I just got a lot of knowledge that you wouldn't think like, oh, I didn't know anything. I mean, come from a performing arts background, that's completely different.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. No, I mean that, you're right, because one of the as a teacher, I think the main reason why teachers leave, I think what's the percentage of teachers that make it after 5 years? A lot of people drop out as classroom teachers because they don't realize, well, there's always a lot of work, but if you enjoy the work, and like you said, you enjoy the people that you work with, the supportive environment and everything, it's not really work. I mean, it doesn't feel like work. There's still things to do, but it's a more nurturing, positive environment. When you don't have that environment, people leave, people quit. So you have a lot of people who, they get their license, and okay, all right, now what? Okay, well, just like, okay, here you go. And that's what happened to a lot of teachers. Dropped them in the classroom, and then no support. I got a support system, but it has to follow through, just like everything. It has to, you can assign people, but then there has to be a follow through. There has to be, consistency. So I really appreciate that, because again, I know what it's like to be in a I won't say negative environment, working environment, but just an environment that I just didn't feel comfortable in, or didn't feel welcomed. And when back in 2018, I turned 50, and I'm like, I can't do 10 more years of this. And then, well, work for yourself. And I go, okay, yeah, but in the meantime, there's a lot of hesitancy, because when people are, again, you were referring to this earlier, we're taught to get a job and go to college, get a loan. We're taught to go out and get a job. But as for some people that works, and for some it doesn't. So this is another option. When people think, like, especially as I'm getting older, like, oh, then now you got to worry about, well, no one's going to hire you because you're older now. They think, oh, you're going to want to make too much money, or you're going to want to retire in 2 years. Like, no, not if I'm enjoying myself. I'm going to, even this, what excites me about this is that, the possibilities are unlimited, but I can also create my own schedule and go where I want to go whenever I want. I do enjoy teaching, and it's still keeping me there because I am in a great environment right now, but I know it's not going to last forever. And so I'm looking to, transition. And then in the meantime, I'm looking to learn, kind of absorb everything. So how can listeners reach you for either for a complimentary financial needs analysis or simply just to ask questions?
Yeah. I have an Instagram. It's my first and last name, Marisa.Avena. And basically, if you go on there, you'll get to know me, all the cool things I'm doing. And I even do the workshops. I lead financial workshops. I like to post about it on my Instagram too. So if you go there, you'll get access to my link tree, and then you'll be able to schedule an appointment with me if you'd like. But that's how you can reach me for sure, through Instagram.
Great. And then I also need to start building up those things as well, the link tree and all that as well. So that's great. And whenever I talk to you, you're always positive. How do you keep that up?
I learned that you need to have daily rituals for yourself, whatever that may be. Everyone's different. For me, I have to do some type of physical activity in the morning, whether that's I'm going to go lift weights or I'll do some cardio, just get my mind and body and energy going. I started implementing too, like daily affirmations, and I used to think it was really cheesy. But honestly, I invested in this app. It's called I Am, and you could make your affirmations or choose which type of affirmations you'd like, but it literally notifies me every 5 to 10 minutes on my phone, and reminds me. And just like, 90% of anything that you do is your mindset. 10% is actually your skill set, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. And so finding ways to feed your mindset, whether that's through affirmations or maybe reading a positive quote, do it, because throughout the day, things happen, life's happening, and it's really important to guard, your mindset. And I've been more proactive with that. And especially faith, right? Whatever faith that flows, it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be God faith if that's not, people's vibe. But I think, having prayer or having someone to talk to, even if it's nobody, is helpful sometimes. And those are things that I practice daily that has just helped me, be a lot, like you mentioned, positive, because I've been reminding myself of just like gratitude and being generous with people and being kind. Sometimes we forget to do that.
Well, I mean, that's awesome, because I don't think I was nowhere near where you are when I was 21.
Oh, thank you. 29 now, but yeah.
Well, I knew you were closer to 21 than I knew it was somewhere around there.
It's in the 20s, yeah. Last year in my 20s. It's crazy.
Well, I want to thank you, and we're definitely going to go, and we're definitely going to do some great things over the next year and couple years and 10 years. And I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story and sharing your insight. And again, this is JP's Teachers Lounge, season 1, episode 11. And you could also reach me at jamespesutichcommunications.com, where I also do some copywriting and a few other things. But thank you for joining us, everyone, and have a great weekend. It's Valentine's Day weekend and President's Day weekend. So go out there and enjoy whatever you do, and have a great night, everyone. Goodbye.
Classy Communications provides public relations and marketing solutions for businesses, professionals, and nonprofit organizations. They can deliver the true meaning of your business with press releases, social media marketing, web development, email marketing, book publishing, and much more. Wherever your potential clients are, they can help you connect with them. Visit classycommunications.net to learn more about their suite of services that can help your business stand out from the rest. Classy Communications is your solution for business success. PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.